start our recording. Today I brought you guys in to go over the assessment. It was called December Review, and you were to do that last Wednesday and submit it to me. The reason why I called it December Review was because it's really your first experience with any PSSA-like questions. And we're doing it in the month of December. So that was just kind of my way to keep track of when we did it and what it was. And I know it was tough. It was your first experience with those really wordy PSSA questions. So I asked that you come to class with your scratch paper. Now there's a lot of people who, if you didn't do very well, I messaged your parents and I said, please send me their scratch paper so that I could look and see where you're making your mistakes. Unfortunately, a lot of those people had to say back to me, so-and-so did not use any scratch paper. So there's, cha-ching, the first mistake. I took this test and I made two people that I live with, one that's in 8th grade and one that's even older than me, take this test. And we all use scratch paper, more than one, because these problems are multi-step and very long. There wasn't any that I believe that any of us are strong enough mathematicians to do in our head, because there wasn't anything that was very basic. They were all pretty complex. And even if you think you can do it in your head, I want you to do it on paper also to check your work. Okay, so I'm going to go through the test, and if anyone is still confused or has any more questions, please unmute yourself and let me know. Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen, get my paper up here. Give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen, if you can see my paper. Okay, we look good. Okay, Nevaeh, read to us about Mount Etna, please.
Mount Etna is a volcano that measures 10,925 feet above sea level at its highest point. This is
Can you not see
less than the height of the world's highest volcano. What the height in feet of the world's volcano?
Okay, so Nevaeh, if we know that Mount Etna is this big above sea level, and we know that at its highest point, it's 11,664 feet less, that means still smaller than the world's highest volcano, what can we do to figure out how tall the highest volcano is?
Add.
Okay, so we're going to take our 10,925 feet, because that's how tall Mount Etna is. So here's my first mountain. Here's Etna. And then this one is this much bigger. So if we need to figure out how tall that is, we're going to add those together. 11,664. And remember, when you're adding, the most important thing is making sure your numbers are lined up by place value. So Nevaeh, what's 5 plus 4?
9.
2 plus 6?
8.
9 plus 6?
15.
Put down my 5, carry my 1. What's 1 plus 0 plus 1?
2.
1 plus 1?
2.
So I'm hoping I see the answer 22,589 in my list. And I do. So number 1 would be letter D. Number 2. Nolan, go ahead and read number 2 for me, please, about Graham.
Graham practiced piano for 135 minutes this morning. He practiced for 65 minutes this afternoon. Altogether, Graham practiced 10 times longer today than he practiced yesterday. How many minutes did Graham practice piano yesterday?
Okay, so first, Nolan, let's figure out how long he practiced. So he practiced for 135 minutes this morning and 65 more minutes this afternoon. So how can we figure out how long he practiced today?
Add 135 plus 65.
Okay, Nolan, what's 5 plus 5?
10.
Put down my 0, carry my 1. 1 plus 3
4,
plus 6.
10,
Put down my 0, carry my 1. 1 plus 1,
202.
2. Good. So this is how long he practiced today. But this says that altogether, Graham practiced 10 times longer today than yesterday. So that means that we need to figure out how long he practiced yesterday. So Nolan, did he practice longer today or yesterday?
Yesterday. Yesterday.
Read the sentence.
Graham practiced 10 times longer today.
So this number is our bigger number. So when we think about that, that means he practiced, let me try to move this up a little, longer today. And how much longer, Nolan? How many times longer?
10 times.
So I want to think, what times 10 equals 200? So if I work backwards, I have 1 0 here and 1 0 here. So Nolan, what times 1 gives me the number 20?
2.
Hold on, let me show you. Look confused. Okay, so what I did was I canceled out. I reversed my thinking. Normally, I take off my zeros and put them in my answer. Remember how we did that? So now what I just did was I took off this 0 and I put it in my answer. So I took it away just for my thinking. So now I'm thinking, what? So this would be my basic fact. What times 1 gives me 20?
20.
Okay, so if I have 20 times 10, Nolan, what is 20 times 10?
100.
Okay, how many zeros do I have here?
2.
Okay, so I take them off, I put them in my answer. You're left with 2 times 1 equals?
200.
Okay, so that was me checking my work. So does the number 20 work for my question mark?
Yes.
So this is telling me that today he practiced for 200 minutes and it's 10 times longer. You could also think of it this way. I could have done my total minutes from today divided by 10 gives me what? Now remember, when you divide, you don't take the zeros off and put them in your answer. But I could cancel these zeros out and I could do 20 divided by 1 to give me 20 for my answer. But regardless, Nolan, how many minutes did Graham practice yesterday?
20.
Which is letter B, 20 minutes. Okay. 2 different ways to think about it. If you're not that strong with your division yet, you could think what times 10 gives me 200, or you could do 200 divided by 10 to give you 20. Either way, you still get the answer of 20 minutes. Okay, I just wanted to remind you guys, if you have a question, please unmute yourself and ask, because I only have 3 of you up on my screen at a time. Corday, are you following along? Looks like you're having a good time doing something. Olivia, you following along okay? Okay. All right, I'm going to move on to number 3. Now, number 3, raise your hand if number 3 had your head spinning a little. Whoa, I'm putting my hand up too. This one was probably the toughest one on the page. Peyton, go ahead and read just the information on top, please. Like, stop at letter A.
A food company. The table shows the numbers of tiles produced in a month by 2 different factories. A third company, Factory C, produced a number of tiles that is between the numbers produced by Factory A and Factory B. When round to 600, the number of the tiles Factory C produced has a digit in the hundredths place that has a value 30 times the value of the digit in the 10th place of the number produced by Factory B.
Ava and Hayden, please unmute yourselves if you guys are going to be working today, so I know that you're here. Sorry, Peyton, did you get to finish up? Okay, so that was all the information. Now, we're probably going to have to read through this at least 2, 3, 4, 5 more times because there is so much information. Okay, Maria, go ahead and read letter A for me. Letter A, honey.
What is the number of tires produced by factory A written in word form?
Okay, so let's break this down. So Maria, for this one, let's look at factory A. How many tires were produced by factory A?
233,080
Okay,
tires.
if I have to write it in word form. What does that mean?
In words instead of numbers.
Okay, so all I have to do is write, Maria, I want you to read this number to me again, but read it slowly so I can write down everything you're saying.
233,000.
Stop right there. Okay, and I'm going to put my comma here because that's my thousands period. Okay, keep going, honey.
And 80.
Do I have a decimal point up there? Is that why you said and?
80.
Very good, just 80. So for letter A, you should have had written out 233,080.
Miss Shevchik,
Yes, sir.
on the test, I wrote 233,080, but I forgot the comma.
Right, and if you look back, Chase, remember I told you, I go through and look at them again. Even if you had something spelled wrong, it marks it wrong. But when you go back, I give you back the points for anything that is a little, one of those very sensitive errors. So you should have gotten that point back. As long as you had the words 233,080 and I could at least make out the spelling as best as I could, then I gave you the points. Even if you forgot the comma, I still counted it. Some people put a hyphen here because sometimes those words are hyphenated. There wasn't one in the answer sheet, so that might have marked it wrong, but I went back and fixed all of those, okay? So you have to worry about missing those. Okay, Finn, help me out with B, honey.
What is the difference in the number of tires produced by each of the two factories written in expanded form?
Okay, so Finn, we need to figure out the difference between these two factories. What do we do to figure out the difference?
Subtract.
Okay, so I'm going to rewrite these, lining my place values up, making sure my bigger number's on top. Okay, Finn, 0 minus, can you see that okay? 0 minus 7.
You can't do that, so you cross out the 8, turn it to a 7. Cross out the 0, turn it to a 10.
10 minus 7?
3.
7 minus 3?
4.
0 minus 5?
You can't do that, so go to the 3, cross it out, make it a 2, cross out the 0, make it a 10.
10 minus 5?
5.
2 minus 2?
0.
3 minus 3?
0.
2 minus 2?
0.
Okay, so my answer is 543. However, Finn, how does it need to be recorded in letter B?
500 plus 40 plus 3.
Very good, because you read carefully and you saw that that needed to be in expanded form. This one, the answer key that they had on here was incorrect. So if you had 500 plus 40 plus 3 and marked it wrong, I went back and made sure to correct it for you. Now, if you wrote 543, that's wrong because in the directions it says expanded form. So you remember you need to stretch it out. Okay, letter C was, in my opinion, the toughest one on the page. See, who's up for the challenge? Who's going to work with me and help me with this one? I see someone with, is that you, Jack? Did you have your hand up? All right, I can only see the top of your head, so I couldn't tell. Go ahead and unmute yourself, honey, and read it for me. I'll help you. I'll walk you through it.
Rounded to the nearest 100, what is the number of tires produced in the month by factory C?
Okay, so a couple things here. We have to round, but we also have to figure it out because there's no amount of factor C in our chart. So let's go back and look. We know, Jack, that factory C has to be between these two numbers. I'm gonna So this factory C has to fall between 230, so it has to be less than 233,080, but more than 232,537. But we also know when rounded to the nearest hundred, factory C has a digit in the hundreds place. So I'm going to actually put 3 lines here because I know this number is going to have 6 digits because it's in between these two. So Jack, my hundreds place has a value 30 times the value of the tens place in factory B. So factory B has what number in the tens place? Look at factory B. Which digits in the tens place?
3.
Okay, so this tells me, Jack, that in my hundreds place, it has to be 30 times 3. What is 30 times 3?
90.
So I'm putting a 9 there. 30 times bigger. So now, Jack, if I know that this letter C has to be between these two numbers, what do I know these 3 digits have to be?
Wait, what? My dog was like whining and I couldn't.
It's okay. So factory C has to be between these two numbers. So that's going to help me figure out what these first 3 digits need to be. So for a number to be in between these two, what do these 3 digits need to be?
111.
Well, no, because 111 is going to be less than this number.
2.
It has to, okay, so it has to have a 2 here. Now this next number, we can't, is 3. So we know this also has to be a what?
2.
No, because 2 would be smaller than this 3. It has to be between these two. So it has to stay a 3. Just like if we had like the number 15. If we have 17 and 14, we have to make sure we have the same first digit because it's between those two. Okay, so now here's where we go, Jack. So this number again has to be between these two. So we have to decide, is my hundreds place going to be a 3 or a 2? So let's look. If I put a 3 here, that means I have 233,900. Is that less or bigger than A? 233,900.
It's bigger.
Right, so it can't be 3 because it has to be smaller than A. So let me put a 2 here. 232,900. Is that bigger or smaller than A?
Smaller.
Okay, so far we're good. But is 232,900 bigger or smaller than B?
Bigger.
Okay, so that means we're perfect because it has to come in between these two. So my final thing is, if it's rounded to the nearest 100, Jack, you know, if we round to the nearest 100, everything after the hundreds place has to be what digits?
Zeros.
You got it. So it's just like a puzzle, almost like a Sudoku. You have to put in, Colin, are you watching or are you playing? Looks like you have a jingle bell. Let's vote. If you're going to be in the Zoom, be present and let's focus.
I'm watching it.
Okay, so we have 232,900, which is smaller than A, but bigger than B. And it's also rounded to the nearest 100. It also has the hundreds digit 30 times bigger than 3 in the tens place. So your answer to letter C is 232,900. That one deserves one of these. Whew! That one exhausted everyone in my house last Sunday. It was tough.
I'm still exhausted.
But, Mr. Pletcher, that's an example of how hard the PSSA questions are. Aren't you glad you didn't have to take them when you were in school?
Yeah, but what did we have back in the day?
Well, I don't remember anything in high school, but like when I was in elementary, I had the Iowa test.
Yeah, that's what it was, Iowa test.
Yeah, but I don't think they made us think as much as these questions do.
No, this stuff is like 6th, 7th grade to me.
Ugh, I know, it's tough. It's just we gotta break them down, break them down. Okay, Tessa, you ready for number 4, honey? Okay, go ahead and read number 4 for us. On the same day? Yeah. Can you get unmuted?
On the same day, 3 different music groups posted new video on the internet. The first video viewed 3,459 times that day. The second video viewed 6,832 times that day. The third video viewed 5,418 times that day. Which expression can be used to estimate the best total number of times all 3 videos that were viewed that day?
Okay, so for this one, Tessa, they don't actually tell you what you have to round to. They just want to know the best estimate. So what are the 3 numbers that we're estimating?
We are estimating 3,459, 6,832, and 5,418.
Okay, so Tessa, if I'm looking at the number 3,459, and I'm focusing on this row right now, we have the options of 3,400 or 3,500. Where would this number be closer to on a number line? 3,400 or 3,500?
3,500.
I agree. So I'm going to write 3,500 here, and I'm going to eliminate A for now. Now let's look at, because they had 3,400 as their first number. Let's look at this number, Tessa, 6,832. Is that, now we're going to focus on this column. Is that closer to 6,800 or 6,900?
6,800.
Okay, so I'm going to leave. Now, to me, it looks like I'm going to eliminate that one because I think this is going to be the best answer. So now 5,418, I'm still going to continue though, because I always want to double check to see if I made an error somewhere. 5,418, is that closer to 5,400 or 5,500?
5,400.
And look at that. Isn't that what we have left here?
Mhm.
So ultimately, all 3 of these have my best estimates. So that's why letter B was the best answer here. That's another thing, guys, that the PSSAs do. All of these, every single one of these are okay estimates, because remember, when you're estimating, you're just trying to find easier numbers that are close to the actual for us to work with. So they're all appropriate estimates, but look, it's even in bold. They want the best estimate. Okay, now we're going to move on to number 5. Sarah, can you read number 5, please?
In an election, candidate Alvarez received 373,220 votes, and candidate Norris received 296,030 votes. How many more votes did candidate Alvarez receive than candidate Norris?
Okay, so Sarah, what are we going to do if we know that Alvarez has this many votes and Norris has this many votes? We're going to figure out how many more votes Alvarez got. What would we do to solve?
So you subtract Norris's number from Alvarez's number.
And my equation would be 373,020 minus 298,030. Okay, Sarah, 0 minus 0?
0.
2 minus 3?
Can't do that. So
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
you can't do 2 minus 3, so you go over to the 3.
Because we have nothing here to help us. So we skip on over. My 3 becomes?
And then becomes a 2. The 0 becomes a 10. And the 10 becomes a 9. And
Good. So now that was no help for us here. So now we have to trade again. So my 10 becomes a 9 and your 2 becomes?
12.
There you go. 12 minus 3?
9.
9 minus nothing?
9.
2 minus 8?
Can't do that.
Okay.
So So you take from the 7, make it a 6, make the 2 a 12, and 12 minus 8 equals 4.
Great. 6 minus 9.
Can't do that, so you
Yeah,
have
they're
to
really making you work for this one.
turn the
Cross off the 3.
and then 16 minus 9 equals 7. 2 minus 2 equals nothing, so
Like 1,
your
2, and my
answer
comma.
is 74,990.
Very good. And that matches up with letter A. All right, number 6. Number 6, I think, probably took me the longest to solve. Chase, you want to help me with number 6?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, honey, read it.
Which comparison of the sums of order placed is true?
Okay, so we have to solve all of these problems. So this is what I'm going to do. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to stop sharing here, and we're going to do some breakout rooms. I'm going to have 8 rooms. So your rooms are going to be kind of big. Okay, I'm going to create the rooms, but don't join anything yet. Okay, got it? Okay, so I'm going to assign each room a different problem to solve. Okay, so room 1, Maria Dinkle, whoever is ORSG, Peyton. So, okay, actually, I'm just going to give a group leader. Maria, unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay, Maria, for letter A, I want you guys to add the 778,276 plus. I want you guys to do letter A and tell me if you get if that one's right or wrong. So add up both sides and see if it's greater than or less than.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So you're going to add them up,
Yeah.
add up both sides, and then say if letter A is correct or wrong.
Okay.
Okay. Room number 2, Julian Pletcher, you're in charge of this group. Unmute yourself, buddy.
Okay.
Okay, Julian, you guys are going to do letter B. So you're going to, with your group, you're going to add up both sides and you're going to say if that one is true or false. Got it?
Okay.
Okay, group C, Izzy, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, Izzy, you're in charge of group C. So on letter C, Izzy, you're going to, with your group, add up both sides and say if that number sentence is true or false. Okay?
Okay.
All right, number 4, Sunny, unmute yourself. You have volume, Sunny?
Yeah.
Okay, Sunny, you're going to do letter D with your group. Okay, so you're going to solve and say if it's true or false. Got it?
Got it.
Okay, now these next groups we're gonna repeat because we want to see if we can confirm. Group 5, Finn, unmute yourself.
Okay.
Okay, Finn, you guys are going to do letter A. You're going to solve letter A for number 6 and say if it's true or false, okay? Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Tegan, unmute yourself. Tegan.
Yeah.
Okay, your group's going to do letter B. Solve both sides and say if it's true or false. Got it?
Mhm.
Okay, room 7. Isla, unmute yourself. Let me know when you're there. Okay, Isla, you're in charge of this group. You guys are going to do letter C. Okay? And room 8, Nevaeh, unmute yourself. You're in charge of this group. You guys are going to solve letter D. Okay, so we're not going to be in these groups long because you're only doing 2 addition problems and then saying if it's true or false. Got it? Okay, go ahead and join your room.
Coach Pletcher here.
It's just, this is the closest thing you're ever going to be to Santa's helper, Eli.
Might be the closest thing I ever get to being a teacher, even though that's what I wanted to be.
Hey, but you know, you're going to heaven. That's where you're going. All this help.
Hallelujah.
Okay. I had who were my leaders of group A? Maria and who else? Unmute yourself. Maria and who else was group A? Okay, I'm going to share so I can look. Okay, Maria, what did you guys find when you added 778,276 plus 77,638?
I just forgot for a second.
Did you write it down somewhere?
My mom threw away my sheet. I was going to grab.
You guys were, so what did you just do with your group? That's what you guys were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I know.
Did anyone in your group write it down?
Yeah, Sophia did.
Okay, Sophia, why
We're
don't you
figuring
go?
out
So,
together.
yeah, whoever was the recorder in your group can unmute themselves. Sophia, what did you get for this part of the equation?
Sorry, it wasn't unmuting.
Okay.
1,555,914.
Okay, and how about the right side?
1,555,914 also.
So was this number sentence true or false?
False.
Right, because it's not greater than, it's equal to. So A is wrong. Okay, can I have anyone who wrote down who were the recorders in group B? Unmute yourself. And what'd you get for the first half of this equation?
We got 1,555,904.
904. And how about this side?
Same.
Okay, so was this one true or false?
False.
Again, because it should be equal to. Okay, how about anyone that worked on letter C? Someone in group C, unmute yourself and tell me what you got for this side.
Can I?
Yep.
Is it? For the first one, we got 1,556,169.
1,556,000. What was the last part, honey?
169.
Okay, how about the right side?
1,555,659.
Okay, so it was yours true or false?
True.
Okay, because we have 56 million.
Ooh.
No, we only have 56 million here, and we have 555 million here. So would this one be bigger? Let me double check. Yeah, who else did letters group C? Because this one, I got a different answer. Does anyone else get something different for this side? Unmute yourself if you did, just go ahead and tell us what you got. We should have had two groups working on this one. This should have been 1,556,000. So that would make this true. But let's still double check letter D. Who did D? If you did D, go
Wait a
ahead.
minute.
Unmute yourself. Two groups.
I did.
Okay, Nevaeh, what did you guys get for this side, honey?
For that side, we got 1,555,659.
Okay, how about the right side?
$1,556,169.
And was that true or false? Is this side greater?
No.
No, because here we have 556,000. Here we have 555,000. So letter C, that was a lot of addition there. Letter C was your,
Miss Shevchik,
yes.
what did I get wrong in letter C? Because I thought I said that.
Oh, you said 56,000, not 556.
Oh, did I accidentally?
That's okay. That's why I was just double checking because that's what I had also. All right, last one, number 7. Colin, go ahead and read number 7 about Cheryl.
Cheryl keeps her marbles in 2 containers. She has between 177 and 203 marbles in 1 container. She has between 157 163 marbles in the other container. Which estimate could be the total number of marbles Cheryl has in both containers?
Okay, so in one jar, we could have between these 2 numbers. In the other jar, we could have between these 2. You had to figure out what 2 numbers could be in these jars to get, where are we at? To figure out how many are in both containers. So Colin, what did you do to solve this one?
I started by adding the lowest amount for both of them together.
Okay. So you did almost like a little process of elimination.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and this is also some guess and check. So Colin, what did you ultimately get for your answer?
For the whole problem.
Yep, A, B, C, or D?
C.
Okay, so we have 360 total. We need to figure out what could be in each of these. So what I did was I thought of 180 because that's about half. So go ahead, Colin. Did you think about like what would be half, or how did you know that you could find a number between these 2 and these 2 that when you add together, you get 360?
I really didn't know that there was a combination. I just tried to go up and down with different numbers until I eventually.
So one thing that I would suggest is, look, I know that if I take the number 200 is in between these 2. So Colin, if I take 2, I was trying to think of like round numbers, not something like 256 or 189, something with zeros. So Colin, if I take 200 away, if I take 200 marbles from 360, what do I have left?
160.
And is that an appropriate answer? Is that in between these 2 numbers?
Yes.
So that's how I got mine. I went with a big number like 200 to take a big amount away. So I have 200 marbles in this jar, 160 in this jar to get 360 total. So that's one of those. You have to do some estimating in your mind to see what numbers are around there and then guess and check. All right. Whew, that was your first 4th grade PSSA experience. We'll be having more of those. Okay, any questions for me? Okay, so who knows what you need to do today for math? It has to be done today or else you will not be included tomorrow. Did anyone look at your Schoology today?
I did.
Okay, what do we need to do today? Who can go ahead and tell us?
Fact practice and math accelerator.
No, not for Monday. Carter?
Topic A quiz and topic B quiz.
Very good. There are 2 quizzes. I just had them. So those are things that we've been working on. Topic A is a lot of area and perimeter. Topic B is multiplication. You're going to complete both of these on scratch paper because tomorrow, if you need help, I have to be able to see your work. You're going to submit your answers online, and then tomorrow I'll actually post everyone's name in Schoology that I need to meet with. If you did well on both and you don't need to meet with me, your name won't be on there. So you won't have to come to a Zoom. You'll just move on to the other activities. But there's also this, if you did well, but you really would like to come and listen and help, just participate, I welcome you to come, as long as you're going to come with a purpose and you're going to work with us. You can come and just hear and review. That's fine also. But I'm only going to be putting down the people's names who I really, Corday, are you listening to anything I'm saying? Corday. The only people that should come are the ones who are going to actually sit and listen and get something out of it. Okay? All right. Any questions before I end the Zoom? Unmute yourself and let me know if you have any questions. If not, you can feel free to sign off and get to work.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.